Hello, I'm Adam Barralet and welcome to this Crystal Connections video. We're exploring 5 different crystals that we can work with during the new moon. Now, when it comes to the moon, the point that we normally get rather excited is the full moon. This is when the moon is at its full lunar peak, it's at its full energy. It's a great time for magic, it's a great time for manifestation, it's a great time for kind of sending our wishes out into the world. It's also a really nice time to listen to our intuition because it's heightened during this time. However, the new moon, which is the opposite side of the full moon, it's when the moon can't be seen in the sky that night, that is an ultimate time to prepare for the full moon. As we know, if we want anything to go really well, we need to have good plans. And so the new moon is a really good time to do this. Now, there's a couple of different phases around the new moon. There's the dark moon. So this is when the final moon has waned, and for a couple of nights in the sky, you can't see any moon at all. In fact, it's normally because, well, it is because the moon is right directly between the sun and the earth. And so during this time, there is new moon, and this is kind of the crone energy or the ancient sage energy. This is a time when we reflect, and it's about this final letting go. It's like the end of our lives, the lunar cycle. And so this is a really good time to stop and pause, to look at what's happened over the last 28 days and to learn lessons from that, to work out what do we want to take forward into the next 28 days, and what didn't serve us, what didn't work out too well, what mistakes did we make, and what can we learn from them, and what are we just going to leave back there before we go into the new moon, into the next lunar cycle. As we come into that new moon and we start to see that first waxing crescent appear in the sky, this is a really good time to start looking at, okay, what do I want to plan for, and what do I want to start to build and raise energy and prepare for this full moon and for this entire lunar cycle. This is a really great time to get really clear on where you're heading. Now, the interesting thing about this is the new moon is often in the opposing sign to what the full moon will be in. So, and they often have opposing energies. Now, for example, the full moon might be in Capricorn, which is all about our career, whereas the new moon will be in Cancer, the opposite, which is all about family. So it's about, okay, what do I need to do that's based in my family that will actually benefit my career, and remembering that I don't forget about my family when I'm focusing on my career. And each of there's kind of 6 different combinations that you can get on those opposing signs. So I'm going to dive into 5 different crystals that I often reach for during the new moon. As a general rule, black crystals are amazing because they are introspective, they're protective, they're contemplative, they help to remove things that don't serve us, but I'm going to share with you my favorites today. The ultimate moon crystals are, of course, Moonstone. And at the full moon, we reach for our white moonstone or our rainbow moonstone. But did you know there are other colors of moonstone as well? There is green, peach, gray, brown, and my favorite at the new moon is black. This really encompasses that new moon energy. Now, this is great in a few different ways. First of all, black moonstone is very protective on all different levels, physically, but also on a magical level as well. A great activity to do, if there's anything that's happened to you during the last 28 days that you want to get rid of and banish out of your life, you don't want to carry forward, hold this in your projective hand, so the hand that you write with, and send that unwanted energy, those unwanted thoughts, whatever it may be, into that crystal, and then leave it outside under the new moon darkness for the whole night to be shed and sent back into the earth. This can be a really great way to kind of do like a Control-Alt-Delete on our computer and restart from a brand new way. Now, this is also a really great crystal that helps us enhance wisdom. Every bad thing that happens to us has a lesson. And if we don't get that lesson, guess what will happen? The universe will bring it back again until we actually get that. So this is a really great one to meditate with and go, okay, what can I learn? What can I do differently? Because if you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always got. So meditating with this will really help. This has a very crone energy, and it's also associated with the goddess Hecate. Now, Hecate is a lunar goddess, and she's often known as the queen of the witches, or the goddess of the witches, or the goddess of the, remember the word witch comes from the word wish, which means wise, queen of the wise. So she is a crone goddess who knew everything. She's seen it all. She's experienced it all. And she takes that wisdom and then makes decisions about the future. Tuning in with Hecate can really give you this guidance at this time to feel really quite empowered. Now, when we think of crones and old ladies, we think weak, but no, they have wisdom. and wisdom and knowledge is power. And we take that power and then we can go forward and make brand new plans into the new moon and the new lunar cycle. So this crystal, protective, brings out wisdom and brings us strength and lets us plan going forward into the next lunar cycle. Another crystal I really like for the new moon is Larvikite. Now you can see it's this beautiful dark grey crystal and it's got some beautiful sheen and shine in it. Sometimes it's actually called Norwegian Moonstone. Now, have you ever made a wish or made a plan and afterwards you're like, oh, that didn't go to plan, or maybe I should have been more specific? Well, Larvikite is actually quite a magical crystal. It's one crystal that's renowned for helping to reverse spells or reverse manifestations. If you've wished for something, it's come true and you're like, that's not exactly what I meant. I want to kind of start again. Again, hold this crystal in your projective hand, see it kind of being drawn in, all that situation, and then leave that outside the cleanse so that it can help to reverse. Or just making a prayer to Great Spirit, to the universe, and saying, please, I asked for this isn't how I wanted it to be, I want to reverse that. This is also very protective if you feel that someone else has, put some, if you're having some bad luck, or if you feel like you've been hexed or something extreme like that, then Larvikite is used to cancel that and start again. Now, the other great things about Larvikite, as we start getting excited about working with the moon and realizing our potential of being able to manifest whatever we want, Larvikite can help to bring us patience. So if you have big plans, of course, big plans sometimes can take a long time to manifest, and Larvikite is a great one to kind of allow you to be clear on what you want, but also be patient as it starts to unfold really slowly. On the other hand, Larvikite can be really good for those of you that are like, I'll do it next lunar cycle. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll start that then. It's a really good one for counteracting procrastination, especially when it comes to our spiritual development and moving along our spiritual path. Overall, this is a really nice kind of harmonizing crystal that helps us get balance into our lives and working with the lunar cycles so that everything is quite, it's not going too fast, and it's not going too slow. We're not like a bull in a china shop. We're making sure we're really clear on what we want. And so, as we harmonize and work with the moon, everything we do is in perfect alignment with our soul path. In our life, sometimes things go wrong, and we have two choices. We can either blame someone else, blame another person, blame the universe, whatever that may be, or we can take an empowered stance to go, somehow I was responsible for that. Now, no one likes admitting that they're wrong, that they've made a mistake, that maybe they should have done something better. But those that can admit to their mistakes and actually celebrate their mistakes, be proud of their mistakes, laugh at their mistakes, and go, how can I move on, can really help to grow. Any successful person, when you read their autobiographies or hear about their success stories, you always hear about where they stuffed up along the way. It's never a golden path really, really quickly or really, really easily to their along their journey of success. Now, this is Covellite. It's a beautiful metallic kind of blue crystal. And this is really good for helping us to explore our shadow self. So what is our shadow self? Our shadow self is basically any part of yourself that you're yet to love. So any bit that you keep hidden away or that you deny or anything like that. What are some examples? Well, maybe when you were a child, your parents said, good girls or good boys don't yell and scream. Or maybe you had a loud, rather vocal parent and you decided, I don't want to be loud and obnoxious. So we start to write this script when we're young, and then we don't actually embrace the part of ourselves that that feels comfortable speaking up in a different way. And Covellite can help us to bring awareness to this and see how maybe that's tripping us up. It can also help us to, let's say that you've got this idea that you always have to be perfect and you can't put you have to always, you don't like being wrong and different things like that. Covellite can help you to be the strength to go, hey, it's all right. Everyone makes mistakes, including me. This can also help us to, if we can't work out how we're responsible and you kind of have this victim mentality or why does this always happen to me, I'd start meditating with Covellite. Work out how you can be re-empowered to be the cause of what happens in your life, to be the center of your universe rather than out of control. Let yourself be in control of your life rather than life controlling you. Covellite helps you to understand how to do that. So it's a really nice one, just if you're feeling a bit distraught over how the last 28 days and the last lunar cycle has gone, sit with Covellite. Go, how could I do things better? Now, you may not be able to change other people and their reactions, but you can always change your reaction, and this can be quite powerful. Covellite will help you to see different perspectives, open your mind, and being an indigo crystal, it really works well with that third eye, integrating the intuition along with your intellect. So this is a great one to learn, be empowered, and get ready to move into the next lunar cycle. Labradorite is an amazing crystal to work with around the new moon period. Now, as you can see, it's a dark crystal, but as we start to move it and it catches the light, you'll see that you get these flashes of color. In this case, it's a vibrant blue, but you can get all the different colors of the rainbow. In fact, this is associated with the aurora borealis that we find up in the top of our planet. Now, as we have this darkness and you see these flashes of bright color and bright inspiration, this is a real great sign of exactly what Labradorite's for. What do we want to manifest in the next 28 days, in the next lunar cycle? We have no idea. Well, sit with your Labradorite. Ask it a question. What do I need? What should I focus on? What's coming up for me? And like we see, from the dark, we'll get those flashes of inspiration. Sometimes we know what we want, maybe by working with some of the other crystals I've talked about, like the Covellite, and the next one I'll talk about in a moment, can really help us to find what we truly want, but we're scared to do that. Labradorite is an amazing protector of anyone who is scared to follow their own path. Now, I often think of the Fool card in the tarot deck when I think of Labradorite. Now, when I was learning tarot, we spent 2 to 3 hours really going through what the Fool was about this individual who follows their heart, does what they want to do, and ignores what everyone else says. And I said to my teacher, I've got a bit of an issue with the name the Fool. I don't think he's a fool. I think he's one of the smartest people in the tarot because he's listening to what's true to him. And she said, precisely. But what would anyone else say if they followed their heart and didn't do what everyone else was doing? They'd say, don't be foolish. Labradorite helps to protect the fool within us. When we go out on our individual journey, it protects us from those naysayers and doubters that question our path and cause us to question our path as well. You know, when we take the spiritual path, it's not, a lot of the time, not our entire family and friends all hold our hands. We skip down the spiritual path all happily together. We become the weirdo, the freaky one, the black sheep of the family. This will help to protect you from those doubts making too much of an impact. It will help to empower you, give you strength, keep that warrior within, focused on your spiritual path, even if it deviates in a different direction to the other people around you. This is a great crystal for that. So we want to make sure whenever we're doing anything when it's spiritual, but especially when working with the moon, that whatever we're working towards is basically really going to serve us and really going to help our soul path and our spiritual journey. This is where Vivianite comes in. As you can see, it's a really dark crystal. Now, interesting enough, when it comes out of the ground, it's originally clear, then goes an emerald green, and then in the light becomes this dark blue and green. So here we see the melding of 2 different colors. We see the blue of the third eye chakra, or the indigo, and the green of the heart. So this is a melding of the mind and the heart. Vivianite is a really powerful crystal to meditate with, to wear, to work with, to ask, what do I truly want? What does my soul desire? What am I here to do? All those kind of deep questions. So what I'd really recommend is, if you're not clear on what you want to work on in the next 28 days, if questions are posed to you and you're kind of, I'm not too sure, well then Vivianite can be a really good one to kind of ask those questions. You just sit patiently and ask as well. Now, talking about patience, if there is something that you truly want to manifest and bring into your life, and it is truly going to serve your soul, remembering that the soul is immortal, then this crystal will help you with great patience. See, it doesn't matter if it manifests next month, or in 8 lunar cycles, or next lifetime, because the soul will eventually get what it desires. It just needs to be patient. So if you find that you're getting a bit restless because things aren't working as quick as they are, whether it's about feeling energy from crystals or finding a partner or saving up the money to buy a first house, whatever that may be, if it's really meant to be, Vivianite will help you connect with that, and it will help you to remain patient along the way. Stay true to what is true to you, and Vivianite will help you. This is really important on the new moon, to make sure that you have that real clear vision, and then you're ready, focused, and just poised. open and ready for it to come. So these are 5 of my favourite crystals to work with during the new moon. As I said at the start, this is a great time to banish and get rid of what didn't serve us, learn the lessons from our mistakes, and then set an intention going forward. If you can get into the habit of doing this every 28 days, it's like putting a post in the road and just going, hold on, am I heading in the right direction? Otherwise, what can happen by the end of the year, by the end of your decade, by the end of your life, you've kind of like, oh, this isn't where I intended to be, and you're nowhere where you actually wanted to end up. By stopping each new moon, it can be a really nice time to make sure you are in the right direction. Now, whereas the full moon is a real magical time and you might want to do something more elaborate, what I would really recommend with the new moon is just go outside or sit somewhere quietly in a special place in your house or somewhere that's sacred to you and just ponder, think, journal, and have this crystal nearby. You know, I will wear a new moon crystal, any of the crystals I talked about, or another black crystal. The only one I don't wear during the day is the Vivianite. I only wear that at night. But all the rest I wear throughout the day of the new moon. And then that night I sit down, I grab my crystal that I want, I grab my essential oils that I'm working with, and I just take some time to ponder. A really great meditation is what I call the cup of tea meditation. Sit outside and drink a cup of tea and just ponder some questions. The great thing about a cup of tea is you can't rush it because it's boiling hot water. You've got to give it time to cool down as you sip it. And this can be a really nice thing just to get into the routine of doing, just to kind of check in every new moon. So I'd love to hear about what you like to do on the new moon and which black crystals or other crystals you reach for as well. Please leave a comment in the section below so we can all learn from everyone else's experience. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I'm Adam Barralet. Blessed be.